Welcome students. Now I welcome you to block number 2 of the course, which is understanding conflict. So understanding conflicts, in this block we will be having 4 units. Unit number 5, that is meaning and concept of conflict. Then unit number 6, that is sources of conflict. Then unit number 7, types and levels of conflict. And finally we will be having unit number 8, that is theories of conflicts. So let us start with meaning and concept of the conflict. So in this particular unit, you are going to understand about conflicts and its stages. Then what are the life cycle of a conflict? What is the process of development of different set of conflicts? How do you differentiate between conflict prevention, its management and its settlement? And how do you distinguish between violent and non-violent conflicts? And finally, how do you describe various causes of conflicts and their nature? So let us start with our understanding with the conflict. What is conflict? There is a 3-dimensional conception of conflict which says that it is considering a situation in which parties like individuals, groups, organizations or nations, they come across to process incompatible goals, their structure of interaction and finally the nature of their goals. So it is the result, means conflict, it is the result of opposing interest involving scarce resources, goal divergence and frustration. Means 3 main factors, that is scarcity of resources, then divergence of goals and finally frustration. So conflict is also not defined simply in the terms of violence. Violence means a kind of behavioral or hostility, that is attitudes, but also includes incompatibility or differences in issues and its related position. So basically conflict means perceived differences in issue positions between 2 or more parties at the same moment of time. I again repeat, in that case, conflict can be understood as perceived differences in issue positions between 2 or more parties at the same moment in time. So, how conflict can become violent? Conflict can become violent because there is no superior force or effective regulatory mechanism to balance the struggle and thus prevent the situation from becoming it more intense, and if the parties involved employ physical force or lethal means or inflict injury and damage and to eliminate opponent in quest to secure their respective values which are at stake. So these are the one of the 2 reasons that show you when conflict can become violent. So when you have understood that how conflict can become violent, we can move to different stages of the conflict. So what are the different conflict stages? The first is intrapersonal, means conflict within. This within means it can be within individual also, it can be within organization also, it can be within nation also. Means in that kind of position when one cannot make decision. Conflict of opinion, when there is a conflict of opinion inside an individual, or conflict of understanding on perceiving the situation. So it's a kind of intrapersonal conflict. Now we come to second stages of conflict, that is known as interpersonal, between 2 or more. So conflict among 2 or more individuals or organizations or nations. For example, any kind of argument between 2 or more than 2 parties. So it will be also known as interpersonal conflict. Third is intragroup, when the conflict is within the members of the same group. And next one is intergroup. So when the conflict between 2 or more groups, for example, between 2 different camps of the group, 2 different think tanks kind of the groups. So this kind of conflict will be known as intergroup conflict. Now after this, we will go and understand about life cycle of a conflict. What is life cycle of a conflict? It is basically in this regard, we just try to understand about the intensity level. One, escalating from a relative stability and peace From this, when the escalates the situation into crisis or war, and thereafter de-escalating it to the relative peace. Means first from stability it is escalating to the crisis and war, and further it is de-escalating to the relative peace. So it is also a kind of cycle of the conflict. So when there is a cycle of the conflict, so we have different phases of the conflict. So in the life cycle of a conflict, we can have different phases of the conflict, and there are three different phases of conflict that you are to understand. One is conflict prevention. When the conflict prevention is over, then comes conflict management, and finally after conflict management we have conflict resolution. So after having this understanding about different phases of conflict, now let us know what are the different levels of intensity of the conflict. Intensity of the conflict. So conflict intensity is, first we have stable peace. From stable peace we go for unstable peace. So after unstable peace there is an open conflict. The next stage is crisis, and the final stage is war. So what we understand is that we have 5 levels of conflict intensity, starting with stable peace, followed by unstable peace, after that open conflict, then crisis, and after that it is war. Next is, when we have understood about life cycle of conflict, different phases of conflict, and 5 levels of conflict intensity, now let us understand about all these things in detail. So what is stable peace? Stable peace is when the tension between the parties is low and there exist different forms of connection and cooperation. Means tension is there, tension is existing, but there is a kind of connection and cooperation, a kind of communication is already there, often including economic and environmental cooperation, as well as the cooperation within and other non-sensitive issues. Tension is existing, but there is a cooperation and communication is going on a different sensitive and non-sensitive issues. So after stable peace, now the comes is unstable peace. So here what happens? The tension level has increased. So when tension has increased, there is a situation where, albeit the existing negative peace, the tension between the parties is so high that peace can no longer seems to be guaranteed. The tension has increased as compared to stable peace, and there is a existence of negative peace. So tension between the parties has become very high, so that it's such a high stage that existing of peace cannot be guaranteed. So from unstable peace we move to open conflict situation. What happens in open conflict? When the conflict is defined and parties have taken measures to deal with it, even if it is military intervention or some other option, so it is known as conflict. So when the situation reaches to such a level that for dealing with such a situation, the concerned country or group, they are looking for military kind of options, then it is a outcome of an open conflict. From open conflict it cultivates into crisis, and finally we reach to the level of war. So what is war? When there is a widespread and intense violence. So I again repeat, the different stages are stable peace, unstable peace, open conflict, crisis, and war. In the de-escalation phase, the pattern is reversed. Means we move from war to crisis, crisis to open conflict, then unstable peace, and then finally stable peace. When we are moving escalation phase, so in escalation first we have stable peace, then unstable peace, finally open conflict, then crisis, and then war. And in this de-escalation it is just reverse of that, that is war, from their crisis, then open conflict, then unstable peace, and finally we move to the stable peace. So these are the different phases. Now we look at connections between conflict prevention, conflict, and crisis management. What is this? Let us first understand what is crisis prevention. Crisis prevention is what? In peace times, preventive measures aim to strengthen the system structure which is needed for peaceful dealing of the conflict. So peace is not simply equal or absence of a violence, but it is a situation called positive peace. Conflict prevention measures are effective at the level of stable or unstable peace before a conflict has become to another higher level. So we can say that we can look for prevention of the conflict only in the stage of stable and unstable peace. In the unstable peace phase, direct preventive measures are directed towards achieving short-term goals, not long-term goals. So when the objective is achieving a short-term goal, then it can be achieved only in unstable phases where we can go for direct preventive measures. Simultaneously, the window of opportunity, if we are going for long-term initiative such as building of institutions and slowly we are fading away with the conflict, then more specific issues are required to be addressed by the conflicting parties. Now we look at conflict management. What is conflict management? Conflict management as the limitation, mitigation or containment of a conflict without necessarily solving it. Fred Tanner has given this definition of conflict management. It says that conflict management as the limitation, mitigation or containment of a conflict means existing of conflict but without necessarily solving the conflict. Conflict management should employ a change from destructive to constructive mode of interaction. This is a very interesting definition. What is if someone asks you in a very brief manner, what do you understand about the conflict management? You can say that it is a kind of process where we are changing from destructive to constructive mode of interaction. So conflict management refers to eliminating violent or violence-related actions and leaving the conflict to deal with the political level. Means when violence and other related activities, to overcome them, they are going to deal with on the political level. This is also kind of one kind of definition of the you can say that understanding about the conflict management. So conflict management and crisis management do involve tactics which are enforced when violent conflict is deemed likely or imminent, but before a solution escalates into the war. I just again repeat that when the conflict situation is existing in presence but it has not reached to the escalation level of war, then violent conflict is deemed likely conflict management, and when it is imminent, it is known as crisis management before the situation goes out of hand and it reaches to the level of war. So conflict management can be enforced as soon as conflict has been identified by the actors and you have taken further action to reduce the tension and preventing it from the further level of the escalation. So conflict management can be dealt in those conditions, because when the conflict has reached to the another level and it has reached to the level of war, then the role of conflict management cannot be there. So before taking the situation or conflict related conditions to escalate to the level of war, to stop them to the level of the war, reaching to the escalation level of war, whatever the different issues that are being managed or discussed at different level will come under the domain of conflict management. So from conflict management, let us come to crisis management. What is crisis management? It is employed in a short-term time frame before a war is to be erupt, when the conflict escalates rapidly and time for management measures is very limited. So it is basically a kind of crisis management. This period is linked with scarcity of time and other resources to address the conflict. Means when you don't have time and resources to address the conflict, as well as you don't have adequate information, means you are filled with inadequate information, then the role of crisis management comes into the picture. It entails also more drastic measure as compared to the conflict management, because it aims at containing the outbreak of military level conflict with all possible means. Means you have to go for all round resources, initiative, action, so that you can overcome, or you can say you can avoid, or you can contain the outbreak of military level of conflict. So this will all comes under crisis management. From crisis management, there is the next level that is known as conflict settlement. What is conflict settlement? It covers all conflict strategies that aim a definite end of the direct violence. Means we are going to overcome, we are going to basically leaving it to the end of the violence without coping with the basic causes of the conflict. Most strategies incorporate in this conflict settlement is peaceful measures like negotiation, mediation, or facilitation, as well as sometimes you have to go other opposite to peaceful measures. You can go for coercive measures, such as you can go for military intervention, you can go for political intervention, or you can put economic sanction against the country or against the society or against the region. So these all are under the strategies of the conflict settlement. From conflict settlement, we reach to the level of conflict resolution. What happens under conflict resolution? The strategies that could be employed to find an exit from the conflicting, destroying, dynamic situations and aim towards achieving satisfying solution for most of the parties that are involved in that situation, conflicting situation. So under conflict resolution, these are some of the strategies which could be employed to take an exit from the conflicts, for destroying dynamic, and the aim towards achieving the satisfying solution for all those parties which are involved in the conflict. The process of conflict management is the foundation for more effective conflict resolution. Means you can reach to the level of conflict resolution when, as a precedence of this, you have gone for the conflict management. Now the question comes into the mind, what could be distinction between conflict resolution and conflict management? You can ask that, how do you understand the kind of difference between conflict resolution and conflict management? So conflict resolution refers as resolution of underlying incompatibilities in a conflict and mutual acceptance of each party's existence. Remember the word. In conflict resolution, it is mutual acceptance of each party's existence. Whereas in the conflict management, it refers to measures that limit or mitigate or contain a conflict without necessarily solving it. The basic difference between conflict resolution and conflict management is that in conflict management, you are not going to solve the conflict. You can contain the conflict, you can limit it, you can mitigate it, but you cannot ultimately going for resolving it. The resolving happens on the conflict resolution phase, where underlying incompatibilities in a conflict are resolved with mutual acceptance of the each party's existence. So after conflict resolution, let us also understand one more stage, that is known as conflict transformation. What is conflict transformation? The conflict transformation central thesis is that this model is based on the fact that certain transformations capacity must be present amongst the conflicting parties involved. Whenever you are going for conflict transformation, you must be assured that there should be certain transformations capacity which has to be present when the conflicting parties are involved. But this is recognizes the ability of mutual respect and reciprocal understanding in respect of the interest in the conflicting parties, both the parties, more than two parties which are involved. Then we can think of going for conflict transformation. So conflict transformation model, conflict transformation model has basically three conceptual deficits. What are those deficits? The first is interdependence gap. There is a interdependence gap, there is a justice gap, and there is a process structure gap. So what is interdependence deficit? In interdependence deficit, it is built the distinction between an upper, middle and lower society level. So it is called as pyramidal kind of model. The respective civilian and military elite from thereby the highest society level in a given country, they consider as the first level. The second level is composed of middle leader groups like business elites, administration people, people from media, influential person, and the influential person from the so-called grassroots level, the domain present, and the actors of lower society level. So these are the three different levels of the society, which makes a kind of pyramidal level. Justice gap. What is justice gap? Justice gap is generally not in the favor of concentrating efforts to decrease or eliminate the form of direct violence. And under process structure gap, since peace is to be understood neither as a process nor as a structure alone, then both its structural and process dimension must always be considered. When you are not considering peace as a mode of structure and process dimension, then this leads to a stage of process structure gap, which is one of the limitations of the conflict transformation model. Now look at peace building. We have understood about conflict management, conflict resolution, conflict transformation. So after this concept comes peace building. When the conflict has de-escalated, means from escalation to de-escalation. So when the conflict has de-escalated further, a phase of peace building follows, which gives room for more long-term measures to be taken. So finally, if in the peace building efforts meet with the success, conflict moves to peace consolidation phase, where the aim is to make across more cooperative and create an inclusive peace for all involved parties. So under peace building, measures used in de-escalation phase are often much more financially and politically demanding than proactive measures in the escalation phase, because all those financial and politically demanding demands you are going to meet in the de-escalation phase as compared to whatever the proactive measures you have taken in the escalation phase. Now, after understanding about conflict management, crisis management, conflict resolution, peace building, let us move to the categories of the conflict. Conflict categories. Conflicts can be divided into two main categories. The one is non-violent and other is violent. So what is non-violent conflict? Non-violent conflict is defined as a situation in which at least two parties or their representatives try to pursue their perception of mutually incompatible goals by undermining directly or indirectly each other's goal-seeking capability. Let us again understood it in a very simple word. In non-violent conflict, there lies a situation where we have two or more than parties or their representatives which try to pursue their own perception of mutually incompatible goals. Means the parties' goals are not compatible and they are trying to undermining their respective goals directly or indirectly and their goal-seeking capability. So these are situations combined under non-violent conflicts. Absence of violence does not automatically mean absence of conflict. Conflicting interest can be pursued without violence and coercion. So in a non-violent conflict, it doesn't mean that there is no conflict. No, conflict is there, but it is not taken the phase of violence or coercion. So conflict is existing in non-violence conflict, but it is not escalated to the level of the violence. Next, see, the violent escalation is every conflict involves a non-violent phase of the conflict. A conflict cannot be detected without existence of some viable signs that show certain position, difference or interest, opposition between the two states over certain commodity. Also comes under non-violence conflict is latent conflict. What is latent conflict? It is defined as a stage, a kind of development of a conflict situation when one or more groups all parties, all states question existing values, issues, objectives that have a national relevance, then it is known as a latent conflict. Latent conflicts must carry some identifiable and observable signs in order to be recognized and noticed as such. The positional differences and the clash of the interest in a latent conflict must be articulated as demands or claims. It cannot be overlooked. What happens in violent conflicts? Conflicts enter to a violent phase from non-violent when parties go beyond seeking to attain their goals peacefully and try to dominate either by damaging or destroying the opposition party's ability to pursue their respective own interest. Both the parties are trying to pursue their respective own interests, but they are not going peacefully, but they are trying to dominate, damage or destroy the opposing party. The existence of frustration or implemental needs is essential condition for one non-violent conflict to escalate to the level of a conflict situation. Use of force, physical damages, human casualties, these are the essential features of a violent conflict. Battle-related human casualties thresholds are commonly used to define a violent conflict kind of situation, especially in a kind of a situation of a war. Now, what are the conflict issues? What different issues that come into the picture in front of you, which you can say that it is kind of conflict issues. So conflict can happen with territory or border related conflict, means geographically between two countries which are in neighborhood with each other. Then comes minority, ethnic and government power conflicts. Under these category of conflicts, majority of dominant national government wants to establish same condition in the regions of all the state. Minority conflict is defined as a form of active antagonism between the government of a state and representative of a minority over the extent of opportunities of minorities to the influence to use and organization of sub-state territories that they inhabit. Under ethnic conflicts, it appears mostly in a form of separatist warfare as a consequence of minorities' lack of trust in the state system governed by the majority of disadvantaged rights of the minorities. The very competition of the political class and actions of ethnic entrepreneurs, they generally lead towards ethnic conflicts. Conflicts can be for resources. When one party or area or region feel that the other party or region is under abundance of resources, where the opposing party or area have scarcity of resources, then you can have a conflict for resources. With this, we are going to finish unit number 5, and in this unit number 5 you have understood about the basic definition of the conflict. You have understood about what is crisis management, what is conflict management, what is conflict resolution, then conflict transformation model. Also you have understood two kinds of conflict, what is violent conflict, non-violent conflict. Under non-violent conflict you have understood what is latent conflict. You have understood the different stages, life cycle of the conflict, and finally we ended up with the conflict issues. With this, your unit number 5 is over, and we will be back again meeting you with unit number 6. Till then, goodbye.